Welcome everybody into the best damn pod in the land. I'm Chad Stryker with your co-host Dan Dibjek. Dan, it's Tuesday, Q&A Tuesday. How are you?
I'm good, man. How are you?
I'm good. I'm getting more and more excited as the weather warms up. So it's going to be 68 next Wednesday here in Ohio. At least that's what they're saying.
Yep.
So that kind of amps me up for some spring football. And 186 days until the toe hits the leather in the horseshoe. So not that long now.
Nope.
By
I'm
my
game
math, that's
time.
about 6 months. So
Oh, you just put that in perspective, man. I'm ready for it to be here.
I know, me too. Me too. So, hey, before I forget, guys, if you could hit the like and subscribe button too, that helps us out. Our uptick continues. We continue to add more and more viewers, and we appreciate you guys. And the way that works is the more viewers we have, the more questions we get, and the more shout outs we can do. So we appreciate you guys listening. So I was on Twitter right before I got on here, or X, or
Uh-oh.
whatever the hell they want to call it. And I
Nothing
saw
good
where
comes from starting a sentence like
Oh no, this is actually good. I saw where Jordan Davison, the running back from Mater Day, is coming in for another 4-day visit with additional family this time to Columbus, and it's not an OV either, and which bodes well for Ohio State. And I wanted to ask you. So you and I have talked about this offline and stuff, and so you have Marquise Davis and Bo Jackson in the state of Ohio. You never like to lose an Ohio running back. I still can't believe we lost Jordan Marshall, even though I think he hits the portal probably around end of April. But uh,
could
well,
be.
it remains to be seen. However, Bo Jackson, not really, at least from what I can hear and what I've been told, he doesn't want to be part of a two running back class. So what do you do here? Because Jordan Davison, he's the real deal, man.
I mean, he's electric. He's the number one guy in the nation, right? And he's not playing in, single A ball out in California either.
No,
Like that's
he's
the
playing at Mater
elite.
Day.
He's at the elite of the elite. So you have to think that if a kid comes from California twice on his own dime, or
Yep.
they say,
Ish.
it's definitely not an official.
Yeah.
Bringing a bunch of families, staying for 4 days. Nothing but good can come from that. I have to think, and I have to wonder what sort of an influence did Chip Kelly have on that? Because I would imagine Chip Kelly was going after him
Mm.
when he was at UCLA, or at least having conversations with him. So I haven't heard that, that has anything. He was here once before all the Chip Kelly stuff happened. But I mean, you got to go out and get the best players. And yeah, you want the Ohio guys. I'm adamant about that. But, if somebody's saying they don't want to be in a two-person class, then, that's a them problem. It's not a us
Yeah.
problem.
Well, the other thing that I thought of that might help is Chris Henry's at Mater Day now.
This is very true. And rumor has it that he's being a great ambassador
Yep.
to the Ohio State.
Just
So,
open that pipeline. Just
yep,
open it.
we need to get it back. We've had it in the past, if I'm not mistaken.
It's been a long time since Nikki Sululu.
Yeah.
That's the last Mater Day commit we got.
Yeah.
Been a long time.
Yeah, I was a little worried about Chris Henry going out there, but
I'm not worried about Chris Henry.
I'm not worried about it either. His uncle scares me a little bit, but he actually seems to be keeping that.
He's
kid
all
on the right
in
track.
on Ohio State, man.
Yeah.
Both of them are.
Yeah. So,
with Brian Hartline, how could you not be?
It's not going to hurt to have him out there in California putting a bug in their ear. I think there's another kid out there on that team too that we're going after, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I think there is.
He seems to be, recruiting for us.
Absolutely, yeah. I like it. I think it's good. A lot of me, and this is where I struggle because I do want the top tier Ohio kids. I remember Tressel saying that it was either Tressel or Herbs that said they wanted to build a fence around Ohio. And I think it was Tressel because we were losing. Was it Urban? Okay.
I think it might have been Tressel, and Urban repeated it.
Okay. Because I remember like in the mid to late 90s, we were losing some Ohio kids to Michigan. And then, of course, you have the Desmond Howards and stuff that we lost to Michigan, and then, of course, played well at Michigan. So, but it was Tressel who figured out right around 2006 when they ran up against Urban in Florida that the difference in the speed is significant if you only recruit regionally. So yes, I want to get the top tier Ohio kids, the top 6, 8, 10 kids per class, but you have to recruit nationally. Recruiting is national now, and that's just the way that it is. So I'm
Yeah,
all in on Jordan Davison.
yeah, especially a place like Ohio State. I mean, it's a national brand, it's a national opportunity, it's national
Yeah,
exposure.
yeah.
There's no reason for us not to get the best across the country.
All right. So we had a submission for our Q&A Tuesday. So I'll answer this the best I can. Submitted by Greg, no last name. How does Ohio State replace Marvin Harrison Jr.'s production at wide receiver or in general on offense this year?
You want me to go first?
Yeah, I'm kicking it to you, man. I read that
Well,
question. I was like, ah.
one of my favorite sayings in the sales environment is, "How do you eat an elephant? One
One
bite at a
bite at a
time."
time, man.
So we're gonna replace Marv one play at a time, one snap at a time. Um, I I mean, as blasphemous as this could sound, I'm not worried about it.
Mm.
I mean, we replaced Olave and Wilson just fine. I mean, the scheme's going to be there. The talent is there. I think we are going to see a little bit more of a balance between
Okay.
running the ball and throwing the ball.
Okay.
So I think that's going to be one way, but I think there's going to be more than enough to go around to these kids this year.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm cautiously optimistic that we're going to see a good rotation at some of those positions.
Okay. So I read this and I kind of stopped, and gave it some thought. So I think it's easy to be dismissive of the wide receiver position at Ohio State because we've been so elite. It's been one right after the other after the other. And so, I think the reason if I had like a modicum of concern, is that we saw JSN and Marv in the Rose Bowl against Utah in 2021. So we knew what was loading. We knew what was coming. And I don't know that we didn't have that experience in the Cotton Bowl, that's for sure. And the other thing is Marv made up a lot of the offense, and he also made up for a lot of mistakes by our quarterback, bad throws and such, and questionable offensive line play. So Marv did a lot that was, I feel like kind of, unless if you're an everyday average fan, it probably went unnoticed. But he made up for a lot of, questionable play. I'll say it, and questionable play calls. And so because he accounted for a large part of our offense, it kind of like bothered me a little bit. But where I landed was I don't think this offense is going to look remotely the same as it has in years past. In fact, like the Vegas line over under 40 touchdown passes for Will Howard, I'm taking the under because I think Quinshawn Junkins and Travion Henderson are going to be the engine that makes this team go. And I think you're going to see something more along the lines of the 2019 offense where we're just giving body blow, body blow, body blow, and then we hit it over the top with our stud wide receivers. And so that is how you make up the production. You make it up in the aggregate
Yep.
with the talent that we have. So, Greg, hope that answers your question, man. So, on to the next one. Ohio State brought in Sam Petito, director of player personnel from Alabama, who is a person I genuinely think is a really nice guy. Do you like the move, hate the move? What do you think?
I love it, man. I mean, anytime you can take a key member out of a Nick Saban staff, there's nothing but good can come from it. I mean,
Right.
it's that simple, right?
Yeah.
I mean, Saban was so far ahead of everybody else that I think some people are still playing catch up. I think Ohio State being one of them. Now, I think Ryan, he's gone all in, right?
Mm-hmm.
This offseason. So it doesn't surprise me that they brought somebody in to help Mark a little bit, with
Sure.
Mark as the GM role.
Yeah.
But I mean, come on, those credentials,
Yeah.
nothing but good's going to come out of that. I think it's going to get us into some hotbeds down here in the South that, otherwise we weren't going to be able to. Personally, I think we've seen that already with Offord. I think we're going to see it with DeBose and probably even Mason Short. I think we might get on that a little bit later, but I like it.
Okay.
If I'm not mistaken, I want to say he's also from Louisiana, isn't he? So he's got
He is. Yes, he's from Louisiana.
uh,
Yeah. First, I will say, Mark Pantoni. I enjoyed our interview for this position. I can't believe you hired Sam instead of me, but he is a nice guy. So just kidding, sort of. My overall take is really simple for this. Much like recruiting or the transfer portal or coaching, if there's administrative talent out there that's great, go get them.
yep.
It's really that. I mean, I'm going to be that straightforward with it. If you want to build a monster, build it. Petito worked at Bama for 8 years under Saban. He was a key member of their recruiting staff. He's going to work hand in hand with Pantoni, and Pantoni does a great job. Also, a really nice guy. Um, he's been dealing with a lot, though. You think about the transition that's happened in the last 2.5 years in football. Transfer portal window, early, late transfer portal window, NIL, regular recruiting, and then the early commitment window for recruits now in December, in line with the early transfer portal window. Goodness, that poor
Yep.
guy, man. I don't know. I don't think he slept in all of November, December, or January. But um, overall, I give it an A for the hire. I like it. We'll reserve like the final grade, see what his production looks like. But sometime this fall we can talk about it again, and then maybe in January. But smart move by Ryan Day to bring him in my opinion.
Absolutely, it's a no-brainer. It'll be fun to start getting feedback on that too when it plays out with officials and
Yeah, that's what I thought
stuff like
too.
that. So just the
I'd be interested.
contacts
Yeah,
and the goodwill down south is going to be worth it.
yeah, that's what I. So I was. I was kind of going to ask you like this, just off the cuff. So him being a Southern guy, so Louisiana, Alabama, Georgia, Florida, Texas, all in that area. I'm not leaving you out, Mississippi or Arkansas. You just don't have the amount of talent the other states do. Um, does did Ryan Day just pull a kind of like the carpet out from underneath Alabama because they bring in somebody that knows that area, and DeBoer comes into Bama, and he's from he was coaching in the upper northwest. No offense to any state in particular, but did he just pull a rabbit out of his hat by bringing in Sam?
Yeah, well, I'd like to certainly know more about how that played out and how it
Yeah,
transpired. I mean, who knows? It might have been a parting gift from Bill O'Brien
maybe.
if he's the one that
Yeah, slipped his
built that
business card.
bridge, built that bridge to begin with. He was very complimentary of Ryan on his in his interview with Pete Thamel recently after taking over the BC job. So I wouldn't be surprised if that didn't happen.
Yeah,
Before he left, I'm sure Ryan said, "Listen, Bill, do me a solid here. Tell me somebody I need to go get off that staff to make up for this chaos you've caused in my life."
yeah, yeah. All right. Well, this one. This is an interesting one. So this actually, thank you to my wife, asked me this question. So Morgan, if you are listening to the podcast, um, she said, "I heard Jim Harbaugh is coming to Ohio State to watch some of our players or something." Is about how that went. And there's a rumor, and I haven't confirmed it, but there's a rumor that Jim Harbaugh may be coming to Ohio State's pro day, which is weird, man. It's so weird. But thoughts?
Well, I mean, he certainly has been there in the past,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
When he was with the Niners, I'm sure he
Yeah.
was there.
Yeah.
But it sure is a little different right now, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
The dynamic of this marriage.
Yes. Yeah.
So it'll be interesting. I don't know. I'd like to see some folks have some fun with it. Personally, I don't think he's got the stones to show up.
Mm.
But
Yeah. Maybe he'll
then
send a
again,
contingent or
it would be
something.
right. Then again, it would be right up his
Yeah.
right off his MO card just to show up there all aloof like nothing ever happened.
Yeah. He'll probably send Jesse Minter.
Maybe he'll send Connor. Yeah,
Yeah.
just send Connor. Just tell Connor to go and film it.
So I had to take a step back from my fandom for a second and think about this. He is an NFL coach now. Ohio State does have a lot of talent. I guess if he wanted to come, he could. However, in my opinion, he should have more than enough film on these
Yeah.
guys from the last 3 years on his laptop or phone that he
Well,
doesn't
I
really
mean,
need to come see them work out at their pro day.
does that film of them standing on the sidelines next to the signal caller actually do anything good for him from an evaluation standpoint?
I'm not sure. It's grainy iPhone footage, so
Oh man, yeah,
uh,
it'll be fun. I'm sure the
yeah,
memes, the
we're
internet,
having fun. We're having fun with this guy, so
the
it's just
the
weird and it seems wrong. So
well, the internet will be undefeated.
yeah,
You know,
yeah.
on that the days after that. So
So we're going to get into a little of the recruiting section, and so we did have a question come in from a friend of ours on Twitter, somebody I follow and interact with quite a bit. I don't actually know their real name, but the Twitter handle is TMB237. He's a big Buckeye fan, so I don't know if this was sarcasm, if he was messing with me, or like it just genuine question. So I'm just going to answer it anyway. His question was, do we even recruit offensive linemen anymore? Because I had tweeted out about Fahim Delane and some other people. And it might have been around the Davis kid to the defensive edge guy. So, Justin Hill. I tweeted about Justin Hill. So, yes, we still recruit offensive linemen because I replied with Carter Lowe and he said that's one. So take it away, Dan. Are we
yeah,
still
I mean,
recruiting offensive linemen?
we're still recruiting offensive linemen, and I'm going to go out on a limb here, and I'm going to say that Fry is going to have a breakout year in this 25 class.
Okay.
I think that obviously we've got Carter Lowe already. He got his 5th star the other day from one of the services. I think he's ranked.
Oh yeah, I did see that.
12th overall. You know,
Yeah.
we'll talk about this another day, but I just kind of chuckle when it comes to the ratings because they're so political. They're way more political than people realize. But anyways,
Ohio
you got
State,
Carter.
you dropped 10 points.
With that, and if you choose somebody else's All-Star game over whatever All-Star game you're affiliated with, they're going to drop you in their rankings. It's a bunch of nonsense.
It is.
If you don't go to camps, you're not going to get rated. Some kids can't go to camps. A little bit harder these days not to find a camp to go to, but sometimes you'll see those guys like Marvin Harrison was. Yeah, I mean, Marvin Harrison wasn't as highly rated as you would have thought he was. I mean, Kyle was the 5-star coming out of and I think he got a bump because he went to Ohio State and because of his name, but he didn't do all the camps. He didn't do all that stuff because he knew where he was going.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, we got Carter Lowe committed. That's huge. I think we're going to get DeBose. He's got Ohio connections. He grew up in Cleveland, I think, until he was 8 or 9. Still got a lot of family in Cleveland.
Who do you know? Because I think we're in 3rd and right now.
I don't know, man. I mean, he decommitted as soon as Saban left.
Yeah. That's fair.
He has said that he's very, very high on Ohio State. And with that family connection, you can't downplay that. And that kid is nasty.
Yeah, he's big too. He's a big kid.
I mean, he will toy with people out there just because he can. A lot of those big guys that are so much more talented than the competition they play against, they'll kind of half-ass it a little bit.
Yeah.
But I mean, he has fun just completely sucking the life out of everybody that lines up across from him. And then I think we've got a really good shot at Mason Short out of Georgia.
He's going to be a Buckeye. I just feel it. I have him highlighted in green in our show notes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, what's your take on it? Are you not? You're obviously not as confident in DeBose.
So here's my take. I want to remind folks that we just got the Armstrong twins and Ian Moore and Carter Lowe. So even if you weren't counting on Deontay Armstrong this year, Carter Lowe's a plug and play kid. He's Paris Johnson. So you can put him on the left side. You can put Deontay on the right side. You've got Ian Moore in the middle. You've got still got some young kids on the offensive line. so there's the offensive line in the future looks good. Now I realize that's 4 or 5 guys, but I agree with you. I think so. Here's where I landed on this. Where if David Sanders goes to Georgia, Micah DeBose will be a Buckeye. If David Sanders comes to Columbus, Micah DeBose will be a Bulldog. That's if you want me to be straight with you, that's kind of how I felt about it. I feel like those two guys, they can pick wherever they want to go. And if you're going to pick a program right now, it's, I think Texas is in the mix too. But those three schools right now probably are the ones to watch out for, and Oregon. I agree with you, Mason Short. I think Mason Short, he should just sign his letter of intent right now. Thank you. Please do it. He is probably other than DeBose, he's probably the guy in this class that I absolutely think Ohio State has to get. Like, they have to get him. And then there's another kid that Bill Kurlick mentioned is that Fasusi kid, Michael Fasusi. I think he's one to watch. I know Ohio State likes him a lot. And then Josh Petty is another one that I know Ohio State is pretty high on. So they're recruiting them, but Ohio State is recruiting nationally. These kids have 100 offers, so hang in there, man. They're going to get them. They're going to come into the fold. I want to ask you: do you think they could get David Sanders? Like, really, actually get David Sanders?
I mean, sure, why not? I mean, we're Ohio State, right? Yeah. So I think we can get any kid that we want.
Okay.
Who's open to it?
Okay.
Right now, if he's just like, no, it's not going to happen, then there's nothing we can do about it. But if he's seriously giving us a look, then yeah, I like our chances as better as anybody else. Which one would you rather have between Sanders and DeBose? It seems like you think we're going to get one of them.
6 one way, half dozen the other. I know Sanders is rated higher. I think I probably lean a little bit to Bose just because of level of competition.
Yeah,
in Georgia. I think
I saw him club somebody, and I was just like, I like his attitude.
Yeah,
he literally just clubbed somebody with his forearm because he could.
Yeah, yeah. So I don't think you could go wrong. So I was just curious if it's just something that I just wondered, because David Sanders, number 1 offensive tackle in the country, according to most composites. So I was just curious, yes, we're Ohio State, but I was just wondering in my mind,
I think we're going to see an uptick in the line play this year. I think that, I think it might have been Landis who said that he's projecting us to lead the Power 5 in rushing this year.
Well, why not with those 2 guys in the backfield, or 3?
Right. And also with the way Chip likes to run the ball.
Yeah.
I think that could play into it. I think Fry's going to come into his own over these next 9 to 18 months when it comes to recruiting that offensive line.
Okay. And our final question. This has been bantered about on Twitter by myself and some others. So Devin Sanchez commits to Ohio State, cornerback. Naeem Offord also commits to Ohio State. So you have the top 2 corners in this class. Do you think this impacts Dorian Brew? Because it seemed like a slam dunk, and then he all of a sudden decided not to do his commitment ceremony on his mom's birthday after Offord committed. So, if you're Dorian Brew, Ohio kid, he moved to Texas, really liked Ohio State, but now you've got the top 2 corners in your class that are ranked ahead of you, already committed, and you're the number 16, kid in your class. Do you really want to be the 3rd rated guy in your corners class committed to the same school?
Yeah, well, really counting on those Ohio State ties, right? I mean, his mom's in the Hall of Fame,
right,
for track and field. I was as shocked as anybody when he backed off, but he seems to be embracing his visits, and more power to these kids, So I still feel really, really good about Brew. I think it's going to be a historic haul for the secondary. I
Okay.
think the fact that we play 5 DBs most of the time, and that, they really would like to see some interchange between the safeties and the corners.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you need to be arguably 12 or 15 deep in the secondary. We're not there right now.
No.
We had a lot of guys. We had a lot of our depth pieces transfer out.
Yeah.
I think Aaron Scott probably ends up moving over to safety.
I agree with
So
you.
if Dorian wants to stay at corner, that's one less person there. Denzel's gone, Jordan's gone, Iggy might be gone after this year, Ransom's gone. Downs will only have a year left. That depth, it gets thinned out pretty quick.
Yeah. Well, I wondered because so Devin Sanchez, Naeem Offord are both coming back to Columbus at sometime the same weekend in March, and guess who's coming with them?
Delane.
Yeah, Fahim Delane.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if
I'm a little
Delane,
surprised he hasn't committed yet.
I think he will that weekend. I think because the Sanchez family, they're doing such a great job being ambassadors and recruiters for Ohio State, and so the Sanchez family is all coming in that weekend with Offord. So yeah, I'm excited about Fahim Delane, and then of course I'm listening to a national broadcast, and they start comparing him to KJ Bolden, and then I even got more excited. So because I our safety recruiting has been suspect recently up until last I don't know couple months now that Tim Walton's over the whole secondary, and then we have Guerreri in there, but.
Well, you know what? Even before that change was made with Eliano, let's be honest here. I mean, they went down to Caleb Downs' house, and they recruited him with film that was a result of Eliano coaching the safeties.
Yeah.
So again, I think that we saw good progress from our safeties this last year. Year over year, it was drastically better.
Yeah.
Obviously, there was more there to it with Eliano, and recruiting plays a big part of it. But it's a safety-centric defense, and now you're starting to see on film the success. It's like Downs said. He goes, the first year they recruited me, there was nothing on film, that said this was going to turn around. And this last time around, it was completely different.
Well, they
were able to show me what they told me a year ago.
All right. I agree with you. I'm not arguing that. But I want to ask you this around the Dorian Brew thing. So let's say, for fun, let's say Delane commits and Trey McNutt commits. If you're Dorian Brew, what do you do? He's the guy. He's the guy Texas wants. He's their number one corner in the class that they want. And you've got 2 5-stars, 3 5-stars, and Trey McNutt.
Yeah. I mean, he's not going to be the only guy in Texas's class, right? I mean,
no, he won't. But he's their top cornerback recruit they're after right now. I think I read. Yeah. I think it was on 11 Warriors. Credit to 11 Warriors.
I like the pitch that I like when Walton and Hartline get in a room together and work each other's recruits, right?
Yeah.
You got Walton talking to these receivers and saying, "You want to go against the best in the country every single day in practice? Well, that's my room."
Mm.
And then Hartline can say the same thing to the DB recruits. "You want to go against the best in the country every day in practice? That's my room."
Yeah.
Why would you go anywhere else? You say you want to compete. You say you want to be the best. The NFL's the best. We're the best in college. Yeah. Why would you want to go anywhere else?
Yeah, great. I'm with you, man.
That's the pitch.
Yep, I'm with you 100%. Right. I just, it was just one of those things that I had kind of kicking around in my brain. And then Bill Kerlick said that, he thought Ohio State might still have a slight edge, but they're going to really have to recruit him hard and, show him how that works in that room. So just thoughts. Yeah, so that's that. That's going to do it for us today. Dan, any last thoughts or comments or anything that I missed in the Twitter world?
We probably talk about this more on Friday, and it'll be confirmed next week. But the move to linebacker for Sonny appears to be official at this point,
mostly,
which is phenomenal.
Yeah. I think we'll be able to hit on it probably when spring practice starts for sure. But yeah, there seems to definitely be some smoke around that rumor, some actual real smoke. I think a lot of us are hearing that. So, but we'll tackle that next show. And
Yep.
yeah, we both Dan and I both had a lot going on work wise, so I feel a little bit out of sync more so than normal. I haven't been able to be as active as I normally am in the evenings on Twitter. So yeah. All right, cool. Sonny Styles, still linebacker. Final
Yes.
words are yours, man, as usual.
Nah, man, just happy to be here. Super excited for spring practice to start next week. And, as always, hit that like and subscribe button and
Yeah,
go Bucks.
go Bucks. Yep. So I wanted to take the end of the show. And if you didn't catch Dan's segment on the Miracle on Ice, it's out on YouTube. He it's on also on our Instagram and our Facebook page. I broke out a 7-minute segment about his passion about hockey. So if you didn't catch it, take a chance to listen to it. It's really educational. I learned something, and I feel like I'm a pretty good sports almanac. But I learned a lot about that, and so if you didn't catch it, watch it. And other than that, thank you guys. Appreciate you guys. Have a good rest of your week. We'll see you on Friday for Buckeye Friday. And as always, stay safe. Go Bucks.